Почитувани, добро дојдовте на ова.
Distinguished, welcome to the press conference in the government of North Macedonia. We are going to announce the investment of the Arikoma Czech groupation in the IT company Sivus from the country with the business plan. At the conference, we will have the general manager of Sivus, Igor Leštar, the director of investments of Arikoma, Michal Tomanek, the ambassador extraordinary plenipotentiary of the Czech Republic in the Republic of North Macedonia, Miroslav Toman, and the Prime Minister Zoran Zaev. After the presentation, we are going to hear the journalists and their questions. I will mention that the working languages will be Macedonian and English. I would like to give the floor now to Igor Leštar, Sivus groupation. The floor is yours. Distinguished representatives of the media, allow me to first greet the Prime Minister of the Republic of North Macedonia, Mr. Zoran Zaev, and His Excellency Miroslav Toman, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Czech Republic in Macedonia. I would hereby like to express my gratitude for the support they provide in this process to the further growth of the company Sivus with the entry of a new foreign investment in the country by the large Czech group Arikoma. I founded Sivus in 1999, and I am proud that we managed, starting from literally one computer and a strong idea, to bring Sivus side by side with the world's most serious companies. Sivus is a company that has gone through all strategies of growth and development from micro IT business to an international company, thus proving that in Macedonia there is a huge potential for creating world brands in companies. Today, Sivus is a serious group with 15 offices in 8 countries around the world: Macedonia, Sweden, United States of America, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Belarus, Switzerland, and Moldova, with over 4,000 clients. The Sivus group employs nowadays over 800 experts worldwide, 500 of which are employed in Macedonia. Over the past 20 years, Sivus has made a huge contribution to the development of the country's IT industry. I can freely say that it was a nursery garden for IT staff and a center for promotion, learning, and growth of the IT sector. In this regard, it is inevitable to mention the Sivus Center for Education and Development, which is an established training and education center specializing in IT and business training. Significant to mention in the development of innovation in the country is the Sivus Business Accelerator as the first one for business technologies in Macedonia. Through knowledge and expertise, this accelerator supports innovation and entrepreneurship in our country. The economic contribution of the company in the country is also very significant. In the last 5 years alone, Sivus has exported services worth over 78 million euro, and in the past 5 years alone, Sivus has invested more than 37.5 million dinars in the community. Sivus is an example, but I also believe it is an incentive for all young entrepreneurs that knowledge, work, following world trends and entrepreneurship can lead a small company from a small country towards making an impact and building a company with an international reputation. After 20 years, Sivus has reached a level of development that needs to be further upgraded and further contribute to the development of the IT sector in Macedonia. At the end of last year, an EU investor, the Czech groupation Arikoma group of companies, invested and opened a new chapter in the development of the company. The Arikoma group has big ambitions, but also opportunities and capacities to become one of the largest IT providers in EU for integrated digital transformation services. Sivus fits in perfectly and complements that vision. It will practically enable us to face the challenges of the new time and offer innovative and quality services and software solutions of the next generation to our customers. You will hear more about Arikoma in the next Sivus development plans from Michal Tomanek, Investment Director for IT at the Arikoma Group. Thank you, Mr. Leštar. I would give the floor to Michal Tomanek from Arikoma Groupation. The floor is yours.
Igor, and hello from Prague. I can hear me well, and the weather over in Skopje is just as nice as here in Prague. Finally see sun after like a month of clouds, so hopefully you have the same sort of weather over there. I'm also very excited to be in the company of such distinguished speakers as the ones that precede me and follow me. So I'm very glad to have this opportunity. Myself, my name is Michal Tománek. I'm an investment director at KKCG, and I'm responsible for technology investment. KKCG is a financial company that was founded by Karel Komárek some 30 years ago. Karel Komárek remains the sole owner of the company and prolific owners of Czech Republic. We have over the years grown substantially into what we are today, which is a substantial investors with strong Czech roots, which we're still very proud of. We're now perceived as a fairly global company with offices around Europe and also grew into an entity which manages over balance sheet value and are perceiving ourselves as really a key long-term investor areas. One that's obviously close to my heart is technology, which, albeit not the biggest one, is, I hope, the most exciting one. But I think it's worth mentioning the other three areas where we're expanding into. One is payment. We're focused mainly on our ambition, which has been almost fulfilled as of today, is to become the biggest European lottery operator under the umbrella of a Sazka group, which is an entity that owns and operates lottery operations around Europe. We're active in Greece, in Czechia, Austria, Italy, and are currently bidding for a UK Camelot license. So we very much hope to further expand our operations there. The other two areas involving oil and gas. So these four pillars are the ones we focus on term and long term. Yeah, if I zoom in on our technology, we really focus on the space that can be broadly defined as IT. We concentrate those activities on the of Arikoma Group. Arikoma is a project that started 4 years ago, and our ambition there is to become a substantial player along the line of that we've tried and tested with the lottery operations. So over time, we hope to, through a series of acquisitions and investments, to bring a substantial critical mass and experience that eventually allow us to player on an perspective. We're not there yet. We like to think of it as a journey that has several steps. We believe that over the last 4 years, we've completed our homework, so to speak. Started with our home ground, where we've completed a multitude of acquisitions time give us the position of number one in our home market, and we now have an entity that has revenue exceeding 300 million and something like that will work with us in that technology space. And obviously, IT services is a very diverse and varied landscape, and one can't do everything. So what we try to do is focus on areas. The first would be basically software development, development for our clients, cybersecurity, and we've made some great progress on those points. Yes, and as I mentioned, we think of it as a journey. We've completed the journey, the one, and we spent the better part of the last years really thinking long and hard about what that next step should be. And we obviously had to expand nationally to achieve the aims we set out to achieve. And I'm glad to report that we found that game changer not in our home market, not in Czechoslovakia, but in Macedonia. It's in Sopot. And so we hope that Sopot really for us will be the catalyst of this sort of expansion. We will unlock further growth and really progress along the blueprint that we've charted back. And if I was to highlight a couple of things we like about this environment from which it comes from, I'll probably point out the following. So the key thing for us, and it's the proof we're looking at, is its DNA. I mean, companies have, and we very much like the DNA we found at Sopot. And maybe it has something to do with, somebody said something about, small country and all that. I believe small countries, and Czechia is not trying itself, are often great at producing challengers that have the guts to really not to be afraid of think big and really have high vision. And I was really very positively inspired finding that Sopot made of the right DNA and really has a challenger mentality that we hope to leverage going forward. The other thing that's very closely related to that is this is IT industry where people and the technical acumen of people is everything. So that's something where Sopot is absolutely out in other companies. And last and not least is the Macedonian environment, obviously, and it's all kind of intertwined together. But we very quickly realized that Macedonia is a very sort of a fertile breeding ground for technology and IT projects. And I think you should be proud of Macedonia. And clearly you're doing something right down there. And if I was to point out kind of two things, but this is actually quite objective. If you do at the World Bank, OECD, Ease of Business ranking, Macedonia is actually number 18 out of 90 countries in the world. So that's pretty high up. Actually, Macedonia is the second highest ranking of all the post-communist countries. On secondly, Lithuania, thirdly, all the others, including our own Czechia, and well, countries like Germany or Canada or Israel, countries we associate with I think must be doing something well. And the other thing that's again linked to that and linked to why that we are incurring a great amount of technical talent, which must be part of something. Again, thumbs up to Macedonia. Which leads me to kind of our plans. I think as has been clear from what I said before, we have great plans, great ambitions, and great hopes and aspirations to achieve this. And IT services especially is all about people. It's nothing else. And us being a long-term investor, we absolutely will believe that to stand out and to grow, we have to invest in people. Both hiring more people in Macedonia and also investing in their competency. And through that, hopefully helping our employees, helping ourselves, and ultimately, hopefully, also helping Macedonia as such, because that's going to help the competitiveness of the country. And if I can end my part of the speech, and I know I'm exceeding my time, but to me, I mean, I like history, and so I will give some historical analogy. And I know that is an international company with a Czech root, and Evis is an international company with Macedonian roots. And so hopefully there is a precedent I can draw on and get some inspiration from the past. So moving back 1100 centuries to 1960 or what more. Actually, it was the Czechs who realized that to kind of write our own language in the script, using these strange Slavic sounds. We actually asked for a delegation to send to us. They sold Cyril and Methodius, and the source that of know-how for that was actually Macedonia. The language and accent that was spoken was actually based the script that later became Glagolic, which you guys were speaking back then. Right? So back then you gave something to us, and over time we returned it a few years back when some of the scholars went back actually to Ohrid, set up the Ohrid Literary School. So hopefully you gave something back, and so I hope there's a bit of an analogy. So we don't think of us buying this. We think of it as us sort of this wider Arikoma family, and we hope this very much will be a very nice collaboration and cooperation. Very much looking forward. And with that, thank you very much, and I'm handing over to my fellow speaker.
Ви благодарам, господин Томанек.
Thank you, Mr. Tomanek. Miroslav Toman, the ambassador of the Czech Republic to our country. You may take the floor.
Dear President of the Government of the Republic of Macedonia, ladies and gentlemen.
A previous presentation, but we could see the pictures, so I think and I hope that people and journalists will get the most point of the speech of Mr. Tomanek. But going back to what I wanted to say very briefly, I'm really pleased to be here with you to express my sincere appreciation to those who worked hard to let this investment of the Czech money, knowledge, and know-how to happen. This is something we have been waiting for a rather long time here. Everybody in North Macedonia knows that Czech Republic is a long-time strong supporter of North Macedonia way to NATO and European Union. We have been always standing on your side and doing everything to speed up this process as much as possible. Apart that, the bilateral cooperation between our two states and nations are at the best level I can remember. Our police is back in Gevgelia, protecting the south border of your country and participating on preventing illegal migration into European Union. We supported Macedonian Ministry of Interior by 4 million euros already, and we are about to continue in other donations. We have established a great cooperation between our ministries of defense, and we want to participate on bringing your army to NATO standards to share our experience from our own transmission. The best proof of our relationship is the help with the pandemics. Last year in April, when nobody had enough protective material at all, we donated 1 million medical masks, and just today, after this meeting, another donation is arriving with 100,000 masks, 5,000 top-quality Czech protective suits, and 18,000 respirators, FFP2, in a value more than 10 million dinars. As we say, as you too, vo tešky vremena se poznávat priateľ. Is that correct? What we were missing here and expressing during all the political representatives meetings was a big potential regarding economic cooperation between Czech and Macedonian companies and Czech investment into North Macedonian economy. I hope this case might be a big example to other companies to follow, either in IT area, machinery area, agricultural area, smart projects, or tourism that we all want to see coming back soon. Our embassy, and I am sure that the government, also in Skopje, are always ready to help to all of those to start, proceed, and complete such projects. With today's particular investment, Sivus will gain a responsible and perspective owner. KKCG, founded by Karel Komárek, as we heard, is one of the biggest business group in the Czech Republic, expanded not only in Europe, but also in the US, and I'm sure that this merge of companies will help both Czech Republic and Republic of North Macedonia, and that this would be the best example of a win-win deal. I wish you all, gentlemen and in companies, big success in your future cooperation. Thank you for your...
Ви благодариме, амбасадоре. Следен ќе ви се обрати председателот на Влада.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'm giving the floor to the Prime Minister of the Republic of North Macedonia now, of the Government of the Republic of North Macedonia. The floor is yours. Your Excellency, Miroslav Tomar, Ambassador of the Czech Republic to the country, dear Michal Tomanek, Director of IT Investments in the Arikoma Group, dear Igor Leštar, my friend, our citizen fellow Managing Director of Civis Group Asian, distinguished representatives of the media present here today, allow me to express my sincere congratulations on the internalization of the renowned, successful domestic company from the IT sector, Civus. I strongly believe that along with their strategic partner, the new investor, the Czech group Rikoma, they will additionally create conditions for even more dynamic development and international establishment. The coronavirus pandemic has shown us that companies' digital transformation is happening faster than we all expected. In this regard, the government encourages all such bold steps announcing international connection, further progress, acceleration of innovation, retention of the existing and creation of new jobs. That would mean development of the overall economy. Human potential has always been and shall remain the most valuable resource of the company, the business, and the society in general. Exactly, the people from the IT sector have shown great potential for development of this activity in our country. The Macedonian ICT sector in the recent years has seen steady growth in the number of companies and employees, growth in the export, profit, and revenues. This industry is the fastest growing in the country, employing the youngest and the most progressive citizens. According to the Central Register data, the ICT industry shows growth on all bases. The general income of the industry in 2016 was 752 million euro, while in 2019 it was 880 million euro. That is a 17% increase in 3 years. The total number of companies registered in the ICT sector from 2016, when there were 1,296, increased to 1,957 in 2019, indicating an increase of about 700 companies in just 4 years. The number of employees increased from 10,975 in 2014 to 15,093 in 2019, indicating an increase of approximately 50%. This is a significant increase in employees in an industry. Significant increase is recorded in the export of ICT software and services, which in 2016 was 150 million euro and in 2019 increased to 210 million euros, indicating an increase of 40%. Our efforts are aimed at further improving of the working conditions, which should move the ICT industry, thus enabling accelerated digitalization of the companies and the society in general. To this end, one of the priorities in the government program is to reduce the personal income tax in the IT sector from the current 10% to 0% by 2023. That should be a sufficient incentive for further development of this industry. We're certainly planning other measures as well, such as tax exemption for retraining, training in the company, in training, tax exemption from the costs incurred for licenses for the IT industries, and the like. Additionally, all proposals coming from the relevant stakeholders will be properly analyzed and implemented. Distinguished all, I wish great successes. I wish for the Civus company to contribute to the success story of the Arikoma Group, which has the ambition to become the largest European IT service provider. Furthermore, with common efforts, with the capital, they will be able to use the possibilities that the IT sector is offering. The groupation Arikoma can count on the full support of the government for their future development plans. Additionally, allow me to express my deep gratitude to Ambassador Toman for his continued support and friendship with the Czech Republic. Today, in Skopje, as the ambassador mentioned, we received the second support from health aides in the combat against the pandemic. In the field of economy, Czech production has a long tradition in creating quality products. We call upon the other Czech companies to continue further investing in North Macedonia. Together, we can deepen the upward trade with the potential to enhance cooperation and reduce the exchange differences. According to the latest data of the State Statistical Office, the Czech Republic is among our 20 largest trading partners. Only for the period January-October last year, a trade exchange in the amount of 170 million euro took place. We see potential for enhancing cooperation in the areas dedicated to environmental protection, agriculture, industry, as well as joint cooperation for modernization of the army, which has already been established as a basis. I once again express my sincere congratulations and hopes for fruitful further cooperation. Sivas was and still remains one of our Macedonian prides. With this acquisition, I believe as a global company, it will be further our pride and a sign of contribution towards the European continent and worldwide. Thank you. Thank you. We're continuing with the part of the media journalist questions. They are online. Telma, you have a question. Who do you want to address the question to? I have question for both the Prime Minister and Ambassador Toman. Prime Minister, you said 2 days ago that there will be a realization with the action plan with Bulgaria. Which one did you mean? Since there are 2 action plans that are not corresponding to the requirements from both sides. If such implementation of action plan starts, whatever it is, then why it is going to take place in March? What is the political basis that we are going to continue with Bulgaria, and based on what? The second question is the announcement of the DUI Albanian population. What will happen if there are less than 20% of Albanians? Are you not going to recognize the census? A question to the Ambassador Toman. How many vaccines is Czech Republic going to provide for Macedonia? And was it required, was there any request of this kind to the Czech embassy or the Czech Republic so far? To give you...
In terms of the action plan, we provided our ideas. If you remember, in the month of December, and the Bulgarian side returned their ideas. It's an action plan based on several sectors. We've cooperated through a number of sectors. We've had a number of coordinating meetings, and we are expecting for the action plan to be adopted by at the first intergovernmental conference between Bulgaria and Macedonia, so that we can implement it immediately. It addresses transport, communications and infrastructure construction, border crossings, gas network, railroads, roads, and everything that is connecting us to Bulgaria, collaboration in education, health, culture, sports, digitization, and all the other aspects. And what was proposed by Bulgaria, first of all, until all the conclusions are made by our side, it's about an upgrading, something that is on top of everything by providing ideas to implement it more successfully that will contribute to the friendship between the two countries. So I'm talking about that particular action plan. It's about the same content that is being upgraded, and I hope that soon intergovernmental committees headed by our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bujar Osmani, and Ekaterina Zakharieva, the Minister of Bulgaria, will be confirmed by this intergovernmental conference and will integrate it and implement it. So that is what we are going to dedicate ourselves to. It's in the interest of both our people and Bulgarian people, and through this action we will create a better atmosphere and greater friendship regarding the political issues as well. I know that these days there has been a preparatory session of the Historic Issues Commission where both sides, Macedonian and Bulgarian one, are preparing the session to be taking place in February. And I believe that even from this preparatory session, we'll have some movement forward. And certainly in February, we're expecting that definitely the communication between the ministers of foreign affairs are moving on. And if there are further ideas, I believe that solutions will be identified and communicated to the public, discussed as well, but definitely the focus in the coming period of a few months will remain on the action plan. The second question was arising from the manner and interpretation of the statement given by the MP Arben Ademi, former education minister, given on a number of occasions. Social Democratic Union and the other partners, and certainly the second coalition partner, DUI, will remain fully committed to the successful implementation of the census, its affirmation and support for the census, which relates only the support provided by DUI, but also by MPs in parliament, the government institutions. And certainly I'm appealing to all the citizens to support the census. And I'm convinced that we will have a statistical operation that will show the data and information that is going to be relevant and 100% true, that will help us to make many economic policies, balanced development, regional development, education, culture, protection, and so on and so forth. And once again, I appeal to you to take a positive attitude to the census, because for 19 years we haven't had a census, and I believe that everybody should be committed to a successful implementation of the census. As regards the question for the procurement of vaccines.
Благодаря.
Czech Republic is fully involved in the process and supporting the process how to get vaccines to the North Macedonia and also the whole Western Balkan countries. We know that, and you also, that the money is there. I mean, those 70 million euros that are supposed to be used for buying the vaccines. Our position right now as a Czech Republic is to do the vaccination in North Macedonia through the COVAX system, meaning that we have to wait for the European Commission to introduce the roadmap and plans how much vaccine are supposed to be delivered. And as far as I talk to the people in Prague, Czech Republic would be always ready to participate if there is any other money needed for additional vaccines to be bought. So this is the position. I know that everybody is eager for the vaccination, but right now, even in the Czech Republic, we are not getting as much vaccine that was promised actually by the providers, and we have to wait, unfortunately, a little bit more to get a clearer picture about the situation, how it will work either in our country or here in North Macedonia.
Ви благодарам, амбасадоре. Канал 5 телевизија, повелете со прашање.
Thank you, Ambassador. Channel 5 TV, who do you address the question to? Good afternoon. My questions are to the Prime Minister. I hope you can hear me. Prime Minister, if you can give us an explanation on the laws on the passport and IDs amendments, how is this going to be done? What is going to go on in administrative procedure in the Parliament? Is it going to refer for all the citizens or only those who are going to request this? And is the ethnicity going to be inserted here or only for the citizens that are going to request this? And a short explanation, maybe you have not said anything about this so far. The member from the Historic Commission belonging to the VMRO party, and what the Deputy Prime Minister Karakachanov in Bulgaria said, that everything will be signed. Whatever Bulgaria is going to request, everything will be signed. First of all, the laws are going to be harmonized in accordance with the Constitution, where we will insert the constitutional name of the country in order to be more clear in the part of the ethnicity and the application of the languages. This is not an option according to the new law, whether the citizen is going to request to have his own or her own language in the passport. This is requested by the law and it's going to be applied to everybody. If the citizen belongs to the Albanian or Serbian or Bosnian ethnicity, he or she are going to get this inserted in their passport. Regarding the other question, we are very clear about this. Definitely the Ministry of Interior is making projection. How much is this going to cost the country? How much are the procedures are going to cost in order for us to find legal solutions so that the minority ethnicities are going to be included as ethnicity in the passports. We are having an agreement regarding this, since the Macedonian ethnicity is included. There is no doubt about this. We have consulted our partners from the EU, all the involved stakeholders. It is certainly in a direction of the freedom and fundamental rights. The citizenship is going to remain as it is defined by the Constitution. It is Macedonian/citizen or of the Republic of North Macedonia. The ethnicity is going to be provided as well. So you will need to be very clear about the further questions, please, if you can. The next question was regarding the change of the article in the Historical Commission. What the Minister of Interior informed me and the government, Mr. Mitovski, is at the end of his contract. He doesn't want to continue with this engagement. He is our citizen. We have to respect his decision. We have to respect his decision on his engagement or members of his family. We are going to have a free space. In consultation with the other members of the commissions, a suggestion was given. Members of this commission are experts in the field of history, and we completely believe in their decisions, in their positions, because this is their position. They're experts in their field. They're not politicians. We encourage them according to what is written in the agreement for friendship and cooperation with Bulgaria, what is international practice, what are the standards in the history, what is the scientific domain, for them to continue with their work, to continue with what has been done so far for 5 historical persons, to continue in this direction. We will see what will happen further on regarding the political truths, in quotes, in both Bulgaria and Macedonia, but I believe that they will come to a mutual agreement. Alsat, if you're still here, Adrian Kerimie from Alsat TV. I have a question for the Prime Minister regarding the case Sopot. In cooperation with the State Ombudsman, there is a request for for agreement with the government for the reimbursement for the people that were part of this case. And another question is regarding the ethnicity. Is this going to be part of this political decision of the government on the next session, or is it going to be decided further on? I have to say that we are not going to discuss further on the ethnicity. The name of the country is included by default. The Minister of Interior is going to give you detailed information about this. But the law of ethnicity is a new decision that is going to be politically agreed upon further on after it goes on the parliamentary voting. If our constitution allows for this, at the end of the day, the ID is a document that is used for internal purposes, not outside of the country, unless there is an exemption from this rule. But I have to say that we are going to harmonize all these details, and we're going to find a legal solution for this. Regarding the Sopot question, we're talking about two different groups. The first group of 6 citizens, they have already came to a judicial decision. They are going to be reimbursed. The other four citizens are in a judicial procedure. They need to hear the final decision of this procedure, which can be similar to the first group. If this is the case, of course, the state is going to reimburse these citizens, since this is a judicial decision confirmed legally according to all the legislation, and we are going to follow this. TV 21, please.
Good day. I have 2 brief questions for the Prime Minister. When do you expect to adopt the law on census in Parliament, and why has this statistical process been turned into political countdown? And the second question is, who is going to be vaccinated first? The census law is in Parliament now, and I'm sorry that it's only proven that the opposition shows lack of responsibility to introduce online work of Parliament, at least for those MPs who have tested positive to COVID-19 or are in self-isolation due to meeting citizens infected with COVID. And today we could see that the session was postponed, and I'm convinced that soon we will reschedule this session and we'll adopt the law on the census, because after the law there shall be many activities to prepare the implementation of the law. The State Statistical Office Director, when I heard him explain that there is a need for contacts with all the municipalities, municipality secretaries, and all the human resources to manage this entire process and procedure. So I believe that very soon the decision on census will be made. If you're asking me about my impressions about the political discussions with regard to the census, I will put it on the account of the lack of rationale of the largest opposition party, and we should come to our senses, because this census is a shame for the state. It is indeed a statistical operation and has nothing to do with any retrograde processes opening in a global world. Even migrations can be obtained in terms of ethnicities who are residing in our country. That is currently one situation, and in 6 months' time the situation will be different. Census will register by ethnicity both residents and non-residents. So we are making a census of all the citizens. Definitely, cross-border control provides us with an opportunity at any single point for the state to know how many of the citizens are outside of the country and how many are inside the country. We always have this piece of data because citizens express their both ethnic and religious belonging. They say, I'm feeling a Serb, I am an Orthodox Christian Orthodox, so there are no dilemmas there. Data from the census is primarily statistical, that is required by both the state and the institutions and all the branches of government, judicial, parliamentary, then chambers of commerce, trade unions, and everybody. So this matter is so serious, so any type of political manipulation is ridiculous, irresponsible, and non-common sense. You cannot give an example where people are put in the census who are aged below 18. You cannot request a copy from the material. The copies is made electronically on an iPad, and most of the data is already provided from the databases. And number 3, certainly, personal data protection. They cannot be divided under this item. So once again, my answer to this question, I take this opportunity to appeal for being reasonable. Everything is digital nowadays. Everything is accessible to the general public. Any anomaly is immediately known to the public, both to the people, the opposition, the government, everybody. So let's stop and take this operation seriously. That is primarily a responsibility of the citizens. And there is some experience where somebody does not recognize the outcome, the results, and they say, once we get in power, we will make another census. But appeals to boycott the census is literally pushing the citizens for responsibility. Across the world and in Europe, census is the responsibility and obligation of the citizens, and they will be punished if they refuse to be participating in the census, to be counted. So they need to implement their obligation, because the statehood is protected by all the citizens, and I'm convinced that our people will fully fulfill their obligation to be counted, and we will finally have the results after 19 years. And who of the officials will be vaccinated first? First of all, as far as I know, the people from the Health Commission, our heroes, will take the vaccines, which is the medical doctors, nurses, and health professionals. They're most exposed to infections, then chronically ill. By age groups, there is a nice discussion, and I believe that the Health Commission and the other institutions will embrace it. Families who have lost a person from their family, a member of the family, will be also vaccinated, because it is showing solidarity and serving the purpose. And from the officials, public officials, is going to be the Minister Filipce. And once again, I convince you that I'll be among the first ones, of the first one, after the Minister of Health, once everybody else is observed. At the end of the day, I'm equally a citizen as everybody else, so I'm doing it to show an example so that everybody embraces the vaccine and takes the vaccine. And we know that as soon as the vaccine is applied and administered and the entire people are vaccinated, 60 to 70%, the projections under the WHO, then the sooner we'll get our life back to normal. Myself, my family, my relatives, everybody are going to be vaccinated. Okay, TV24, you may take the floor with your question, and to whom it is addressed. I have a question to the Prime Minister Zaev. First of all, in connection with the action plan with Bulgaria, if I understand well, we already have a harmonized action plan with Skopje, which will be implemented until Bulgarian election, but the president said that Bulgaria is raising the old Bulgarian positions about the Macedonian identity, and I'm interested if this is acceptable for you. And my second question is about the census. It's a statistical operation, you're saying, and we should be optimistic, specifically if the census shows for the second time that they're lower than the percent they're presenting. So is this going to be acceptable for you? Thank you.
First of all, just to confirm once again, both Du and the former Education Minister, Arbara Demi, Deputy Coordinator of the MP group of DUI, have shown their position. We are sticking by it. The census, regardless of what percentage is going to be finalized, this is statistics. There is going to be no repercussion regarding the rights according to the constitution. As I said, in the global village of migration of citizens going out of the country, coming back to the country, professionally working outside, this should not be a factor that is going to be important regarding the legal solutions. The government has adopted a decision together with the parliament to establish a ministry of political system in order to be focused further on to the citizens for their quality, for their experience, for their qualification, in order to involve them in the social life of the country. So let's start with cutting the policy out of everything for what is needed and for what is not needed. We're talking about the statistical operation that is needed, first of all, for the administrative views. The action plan with Bulgaria, I have said already, we have sent something to them. They have returned their response. We are dealing with the Minister of Interior. He's dealing with the communication. Osmani and Zakharieva are communicating, and the governments are going to come at last in order to be able to implement this action plan. This is an action plan for continuing and improving the cooperation. Regarding the ideas, we have continuous exchange of ideas. There are some political ideas as well. President Pendarovsky mentioned this. Of course, where there are any comments which are touching our Macedonian identity, our Macedonian language, we are not going to discuss. That's absolute. We're talking about the long-term, short-term, the name, the question of hatred, of hate speech, the commissions, etc., in order to continue with building the friendship and find solutions. But the political part is definitely something that we need to discuss after the elections in Bulgaria, since this is something that we cannot expect any movement at the moment, just like last year when we had the elections. I know what was happening last year here, since I'm a politician. I know what is happening before the elections. We know how much are the political structures ready to go into this kind of processes. But I encourage the communication on all levels, since only with the communication we can find solutions. So, for Macedonian and Macedonian language, identity questions, our nationality, we are absolutely not going to discuss. Our position is very clear. There is no other perspective but European perspective. If we become a dust, if we don't exist, we are not going to have any perspective at all. We are Macedonians. Our country is Macedonia. We have multi-ethnical, rich in ethnicities and diverse in cultural differences in our country. I'm very pleased that the reality for Macedonians and Macedonian language is accepted. I'm not in that spirit. I'm not going to allow that our dignity the dignity of the communication is going to be put in question, the dignity of the Macedonian citizen speaking Macedonian language. We are going towards the end of this press conference. We have several questions that we have received. TV Alpha had a question regarding the census. We have already answered. What is the development of the employment in the country? This is a question for Mr. Tomanek. What are you planning regarding the employment in the country? How far are your plans reaching regarding this?
Mentioned that our plan is continue growing and hiring more people into the operations we have throughout Macedonia. So while I don't have an exact number to present, certainly we would like to multiply our presence there. So the issue is really having enough people to recruit from, without not being sufficiently ambitious. So the plans are big.
Ви благодарам и уште едно прашање за Игор Лештар.
Thank you. One more question for Igor Leštar. Similar, what are your future plans for investments for the future in the country? This is regarding Sivus. Mr. Leštar? I am certainly going to continue working with Sivus, together with KKCG, together with Arikoma, exactly for this objective, to work together on the objectives that we have agreed upon during our negotiations. This is one of the reasons why we had this transaction. This is to make Sivus serious international European and pan-European player in this industry where it operates nowadays. Certainly, I'm going to continue working further on together with Arikoma in order to achieve this objective. Thank you. We are closing today's press conference now, where we have announced the Arikoma investment in the Sivus in the country. Thank you all.